All right, welcome back. We're coasting home now, but let's tell you that the politics of the game is on. Talk about Supreme Court ruling of Friday, where they said the NFF case should go back to the status quo. Talk about going back to the High Court in Jos. We just thank God that the ruling has not put a spanner in the work. Talk about our walk-off campaign. Oluchi, you saw what the Supreme Court did on Friday.
George, what I can only say is that our judicial system is so flawed. It's like a slow motion where it takes over 10-15 years to just come out with a simple judgment. How can you get to the last stage of a process and it is in that place that you are now observing irregularities and we're going back to square one?
So then the person would have wanted us to just get rid of this case.
The person must have finished using the 8 years he's supposed to use. Maybe they will call him back. I think our judicial system, they really need to sit up and have a rethink.
All right, Tony, you saw what the Supreme Court did on Friday, so to speak.
Yeah, just ordinarily one would just jump into it. When you talk about Supreme Court, that is why it's Supreme Court. They must take.
They should have ended the matter.
No, Judge, they must take the minutest of details, and they've just seen, that the details during the High Court was not equal.
It wasn't thorough.
It wasn't thorough in the sense that Pinnick Amaju, his defenses and of course his own clients, they were not properly. They were not at the beginning of that case. We just saw something like a kangaroo decision that rushed, and then we had that Giwa had won, and it was then that he alerted, sent a lot of signals, and the NFF and Pinnick and his own lawyers now reacted. That was how they immediately went into the appeal, and thereafter I think the Supreme Court is being thorough and then going back to the basis. And just for me, the important thing is that let them start afresh until after our World Cup. We don't want anything, that will stop Nigeria's World Cup campaign, because that will be disastrous. Knowing what it is, knowing what football has been doing, and of course, without football, George, this country was sitting on a keg of gunpowder. It's only football. And
okay, Tony, we are speaking as laymen here, but let's hear from a man who should know, a legal luminary, a senior advocate of Nigeria, Barrister A.U. Mustapha. He has been part of football. He is, in fact, the chairman, the first Nigerian chairman of CAF Board of Appeal. We caught up with him, and he spoke to us on what this Supreme Court judgment means for Nigerian football. Let's hear from Barrister Mustapha.
The matter in the Federal High Court, where it is all started from, was struck out, and there was an appeal to the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal upheld that it was rightly struck out. Then now to Supreme Court. Supreme Court is of the view, and Supreme Court is Apex Court is the final court in Nigeria. Supreme Court is of the view that the matter should be remitted back to the High Court and now start de novo, meaning that they will not start all over again. So there's no any injunction that was granted by the Supreme Court. So the matter will have to start all over again. So the status quo remains, the present board continues, but the matter is now pending, and it's like they are starting all over again. It doesn't affect the board, and by extension, it doesn't affect our preparation and our eligibility to be at the World Cup. So it has nothing to do with it at all. The matter will have to start as it is starting afresh.